Hi guys, how you doing? Good to see you all. Beautiful sunny day here on Tyneside. It's been nice all week, hasn't it? So nice to finally get a little bit of summer, and it's nice to see this place, St James's Park, behind me, decked in sunshine. A couple of weeks before the start of the season. So yeah, interesting times. I know you guys will probably want an update on transfers. Let's firstly talk about William Osula. News we brought to you yesterday that Newcastle were in advanced talks for the Sheffield United striker. My understanding is that it's pretty much agreed. I think club to club they have an agreement in place, £10 million, which of course will be spread over the length of his contract, with an additional £5 million in add-ons if the player reaches certain targets throughout his contract. So that one is very close. He'll come up here for a medical, I think, in the next couple of days, and Newcastle will name him as their fifth signing in the summer. Now, okay, not another big name player that of course you guys as supporters want, but look, I do think it's important that the club need to build for the future, and I think everyone will agree that in that forward area, particularly through the middle, you need a couple more bodies there. You've only got Isak, Wilson and Gordon who can play in there, and you know, if one of those get injured, well, Wilson's injured at the moment, it just leaves Isak vulnerable. I think you need someone there who can probably come off the bench for the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes in matches. Is Osula able to make an impact in games? Not too sure. I actually watched him. He started against Tottenham in the last game of the season a couple of months ago, and I watched him and he was taken off, but look, he looked quick, he looked raw, he looked pacey. He certainly stood out in that really struggling team. One of my colleagues at Sky, one of my cameramen actually, is a big Sheffield United fan, who watches all their games, season ticket holder, and I asked him a bit about him yesterday, and he said, look, I don't think he's quite ready for the Premier League. He goes, but it's really difficult to judge him because he was playing in a really, really poor Sheffield United side last season who were getting beat every week, and he still managed to keep his head up. What he did say is that he's been phenomenal in pre-season, scored a couple of great goals, really looks like he's stepped things up, and perhaps Newcastle, with their new head of new sporting director, recruitment guru in shape of Paul Mitchell, have seen that. They've perhaps seen the fact that this guy looks like he's stepped it up, and let's get him now while we can. And as my colleague said, you know, if this is a player who goes on and scores 20 goals in the Championship this season, Sheffield United will be demanding 30 million pounds. So maybe it's a good time to get him now while he's going down the way. Newcastle pluck him and perhaps save a little bit of money. So look, time will tell whether he's a good addition, but I think the squad needs bulked up, and I think Newcastle need the bench strengthened. Really, you know, it's pretty hard to strengthen that starting 11, other than perhaps a couple of positions at the moment. We all kind of know where they are, and those are the areas that Newcastle, of course, are trying to add. Right wing, right centre back. You know, I think the midfield three picks itself in the shape of Tonali, Joelinton and Bruno if everyone is fit. Gordon off the left, Isak through the middle. Yes, you need a new right winger. They're trying to do that. They'll try and bring a big name player in there. And yes, you need another right-sided centre half. Although Shah's been phenomenal, you would suggest, you know, there's going to be a changing of the guard there, and you probably need the likes of a Malik Chow to come in there and play alongside Botman in your strongest 11. So hard to improve the starting 11, but they need to bulk out the numbers, and I think Osula is one of those players. Clearly, to me, it's a Paul Mitchell signing. You look at the sorts of players he's signed in the past. It'll be interesting to see how Eddie Howe uses him next season. Will he go out on loan? Probably not. I think he'll be there and be an option, certainly, with Callum Wilson injured at the start of the season. So I think there's agreement in principle there, and we're expecting confirmation over that £10 million plus £5 million in add-ons transfer in the coming days. So who else? That's what you're asking. Who else? Obviously, Chow's agent came out a couple of days ago and denied that a deal was in place, but clearly there's talks taking place behind the scenes, and I do expect Newcastle to add a central defender. But look, I think the priority of all this summer really has been adding a right winger. I think it's clear to see for everyone that Almiron does need some competition there. I think there's a chance Almiron can still go. I said to you a few weeks ago at the end of that PSR deadline that he was in talk. Newcastle were in talks with the Saudi Pro League over a transfer. I believe those talks are still active and he could go, but I think Newcastle will probably wait until they try and bring in a player of their own in that position. Look, we'll wait and see, but someone like Jared Bowen, someone who's been mentioned, someone like him who, You know, he's an England international, knows the league, can play in a number of positions, and you know what you're going to get from him is someone that you know that Eddie Howe would want at the football club. So let's see if Newcastle can take advantage of West Ham's situation in terms of transfers. They've bought a couple of players themselves, they need to sell, and also they've got a new manager coming in the shape of Lopetegui. Will he have got an understanding with Bowen yet? Probably not, so it's probably a good time for Newcastle to act if they can. How much have they got to spend? We don't know exactly. I don't think there's an infinite budget. I don't think Eddie Howe knows that. I think he's kept away from these things. My sort of understanding, feeling of it is that it's upwards of 50 million, less than 100 million. So, you know, I can see Newcastle probably bringing in 2 players, whether they're one's 40 and one's 30, or you know, one's 50 and one's 20. I can see that happening between now and the end of the window, and I think they will. I think they know they need to. And although it has been slow, although the changeover with Amanda leaving, Paul Mitchell coming in as sporting director, I think has held things back a little bit. I think that the wheels are in motion now, and I think we will see some change in the coming days ahead. Not ideal that they don't get pre-season, but look, it's just important to strengthen the squad where you can, and certainly in my opinion, it's important to try and get to strengthen that starting 11 with a couple of players. I don't think there's any point in flooding the squad with new arrivals. I always think teams do really well who are off the back of a good season and don't tweak it too much, don't load too many players in there. I think just a couple of tweaks here and there, a couple of new signings, I always think they do better. And the Newcastle, without doubt, with the likes of Isak, Bruno, Gordon, who have got a season or 2 under the belt at the football club, I think we'll be stronger for it. Isak looks in red hot form in pre-season. You just got fingers crossed he doesn't get injured. I see him scoring 30 goals this season. I mean, he's been rested up. Sweden weren't in the Euros. I can really see him attacking the season, and I think he could be a real star for Newcastle. So certainly this season he has been already. So you know, let's see what they do, but I do expect them to bring players in. For me, it's going to be a strange couple of weeks, because I'm about to be a dad in 3 weeks' time. So I get 6 weeks paternity, which coincides. The baby's actually due on transfer deadline day, so imagine that as a new arrival on transfer deadline day. And I have to vacate my spot here in the car park where I stood for 17 hours to go to the hospital. That would be, well, at least we'd have a new arrival on deadline day. That would be quite good. But yeah, so my paternity lasts for the first 6 weeks of the season. Imagine that, having to work through all the summer, nothing happening, season starts and I'm off on paternity. So that's going to be interesting, see how that goes. But yeah, it feels like the season's close, and you know, disappointed not to be over in Japan, but couldn't really take the chance of going over there just in case the baby arrived early. So we're here talking about William Osula. At least something's happening. So look, my message to you guys would be don't panic. I think you've got a strong squad. I think even if it stayed how it is, I think with Botman coming back in a couple of months, he looks like he's ahead of schedule. With Lloyd Kelly coming in there, I think Hall is made huge strides in the last 6 months. You know, I think you've got Trippier still to come back in should he stay. Of course, Gordon to come back. I think you'll have a good season. I really do. I think you could be challenging for the top 4 again if you manage to keep most of the players fit. That is the key, keeping the players fit. And if you do that, I think you can really go on and challenge up there at the top end and try and get back into the Champions League again. So let's see how it goes. Sorry if that was a bit of a ramble, but I thought I'd just bring you up to speed with a couple of things transfer related, and let's see. So yeah, be patient. I think a couple of new signings will come in, and I think you'll be in a lot stronger position by the end of August, when my life could be about to turn into carnage. Anyway, nice to speak to you guys. If you haven't done, subscribe already, leave your comments below, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.